Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, in our video, we will examine the issue of the great Islamic philosopher and physician Ibn Sina being portrayed as an atheist. Many atheists try to present Ibn Sina as an atheist scientist. In my opinion, there are four main reasons why Ibn Sina is remembered as an atheist scholar. The first reason is atheists' inferiority complex. Because they are not sure about the correctness of their beliefs, they try to convert great scientists into atheists to prove the correctness of their beliefs. We see this in the example of the great physicist Albert Einstein. Atheists work hard to portray Albert Einstein as an atheist. Do you know why? Because Albert Einstein is a great scientist, and if he is an atheist, they conclude that atheism is more correct. The portrayal of scientists like Newton as atheists is also an example of this. In conclusion, the first reason Ibn Sina is remembered as an atheist is this. They think that by portraying a great scientist like Ibn Sina as an atheist, they prove that atheism is a correct belief. The second reason is the atheist propaganda of the Soviet era. They worked hard in books and literature to present Ibn Sina as an atheist, and as a result, many people came to the conclusion that Ibn Sina was an atheist. The third reason can be attributed to Imam Ghazali. In his work, The Incoherence of the Philosophers, Imam Ghazali insulted Ibn Sina, calling him a blasphemer and an apostate. Therefore, present-day atheists conclude that Ibn Sina was an atheist based on Imam Ghazali's statement. The fourth reason is the persecution in Ibn Sina's life, that is, his imprisonment, escape from persecution, and hiding, which gives many atheists the impression that Ibn Sina was an atheist, because the Muslim caliphs and rulers of his time persecuted him and tried to kill him. Now we will investigate these reasons together. The first two arguments are not serious arguments, because the first reason for portraying Ibn Sina as an atheist is his being a great scientist. What the Soviet government did was entirely propaganda. Because these reasons are unfounded, we want to briefly clarify these issues by examining more serious two reasons. At the end of the research, it will be clearly revealed that the claim that Ibn Sina was an atheist is entirely absurd. The first issue is the matter of Imam Ghazali. The most important point is that in Imam Ghazali's book, The Incoherence of the Philosophers, he calls Ibn Sina a blasphemer and an apostate. He cites various reasons for this. For example, Ibn Sina states that in the afterlife, it is our souls, not our bodies, that will be resurrected. Or Ibn Sina claims that creation is eternal, meaning that creation has no beginning. That is, creation begins from the moment God exists. Ibn Sina has some ideas that Imam Ghazali explains in his work, The Incoherence of the Philosophers, such as the resurrection of the body, not the soul, and that creation cannot be eternal. We will not explain this issue in detail because it is not our topic. We will only try to get to the essence of the matter. I think both sides have valid arguments in these matters. So does Imam Ghazali calling Ibn Sina a blasphemer really make Ibn Sina an atheist? Absolutely not. This is an Islamic conflict between Imam Ghazali, who prefers the science of Kalam, and Ibn Sina, who prefers the science of philosophy, and is an internal matter of Islam. That is, while Ibn Sina says that the soul will be resurrected in the afterlife, he is definitely not an atheist. Imam Ghazali bases himself on this when he describes himself as a blasphemer and a takfir. He says this is contrary to the Quran and Hadiths. But no one can bring us a proof like Ibn Sina is an atheist because Imam Ghazali has declared Ibn Sina a blasphemer. The second issue is the persecution of Ibn Sina. Yes, Ibn Sina really suffered persecution throughout his life and was imprisoned. However, the reason for this persecution was not because he was an atheist thinker, that is, a godless scientist. The reason for these persecutions and his prison life is the problems between Ibn Sina and the rulers. Ibn Sina was first invited to the palace by Sultan Mahmud Ghaznavi, one of the rulers of his time, and asked to work among a group of scholars consisting of scholars like al-Biruni. Ibn Sina refuses and does not want to work at the palace of Sultan Mahmud Ghaznavi. After this, Ibn Sina was persecuted by Sultan Mahmud Ghaznavi. Upon this, Ibn Sina escaped with a Christian friend and hid in the desert. A Christian friend dies in a sandstorm, but Ibn Sina manages to survive. As can be seen in this case, there is no reason for Ibn Sina to be an atheist. Ghazneli Mahmud wants to kill Ibn Sina because he opposes his wishes. The second issue is that Ibn Sina was invited to the palace by the Hamadan dynasty for treatment. Ibn Sina treated the illness of the Hamadan dynasty very beautifully. The Hamadan dynasty was so impressed by Ibn Sina's skills that they appointed him as a vizier. Ibn Sina became famous in theology, medicine, and many other fields. However, it is known that Ibn Sina had no political knowledge. After being appointed as a vizier, the dynasty made many wrong decisions in the political field. Because their political decisions were wrong, the Hamadan dynasty was very angry with him and imprisoned Ibn Sina. Upon this, Ibn Sina managed to escape from prison and started hiding, but they still follow him and put him back in prison. Much of Ibn Sina's life was spent in persecution and prison. It is clear that this issue was caused by the problems Ibn Sina had with the rulers. This was definitely not due to his atheistic thought structure or any other problem. If someone claims that Ibn Sina was persecuted because he was an atheist, they can present evidence based on these words, and we can examine those evidence. But in reality, there is no such thing. The reality is that, as we said before, there were problems between the Hamadan dynasty and the Ghaznavi Mahmud dynasty. Of course, those who portray Ibn Sina as an atheist do not know Ibn Sina's works. Of course, they have not read any of his works. One of his most famous works is Metaphysics. In the introduction to Metaphysics, Ibn Sina begins with the proof of Burhanus Siddiq. As you know, the proof of Burhanus Siddiq is considered the strongest evidence for the existence of Allah. These evidences prove the existence of Allah in the most beautiful way. In his work, Metaphysics, Ibn Sina presents evidences that demonstrate the existence of Allah and the afterlife, prove the correctness of the Prophet, and obedience to the Imam. In his books, there are no details that emphasize atheism, claim the absence of Allah, expose the lie of the Prophet, or claim that Islam is not the true religion. On the contrary, his books contain works that prove the existence of Allah, the unity of Allah, the justice of Allah, prophethood, and obedience to the Imam. So, if atheists had bothered to read a few works of Ibn Sina, they would never make such a claim. Therefore, the claim made by atheists is ridiculous and unfortunate, although it may seem rude. I hope atheists will not claim that Ibn Sina was an atheist in the future. Thank you for watching. We hope this video provided valuable insights. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support means a lot to us. Join our community and stay updated.